Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today it's my pleasure to review another book from Informa. This one is a fascinating title. It's very, very important at the current time. Now, the title of the book is one that I found interesting because it's Lex Petrolea. Now, I don't know how to pronounce Petrolea. I think it's Petrolea, not Petrola or anything else. But that's the title, Lex Petrolea. And International Investment Law, Law and Practice in the Persian Gulf. Very important area, very difficult area in some places, but Lex Petrolea is the title, and it's been written by a man called Nima Mersadi Tabari. And this is part of the Lloyd's Environment and Energy Law Library, which comes to us from Informa and Routledge and Taylor and Francis. Now, Elizabeth and I talked about this. We had a disagreement about the pronunciation of Lex Petrolea to start with. But once we got over that, I said it's Lex Petrolea, and that's what I'm going to say. It's a means of resolution in transnational hydrocarbon disputes. And that is what it's partly about. Now, let's have a look at the book first of all, because that's the title of our book review. And let's have a look at the book. Grey cover, here we go, hardback. Not a big book at all. You can see it's part of the little series, the Lloyd's Environment and Energy Law Library there. The back of the book, we'll just go to the back first. It's paragraph numbering, just under 300 pages, paragraph numbering at the index at the back. So you can find things pretty quickly. Let me go to the front next. And that is there's the front. There's very little actually in this library at the moment, so it's just building up. But that's the front cover there. It's available as an ebook as well. And then there is there is a dedication, which I shall just show you there. I always like to show the dedications. There's a lot of work gone into this for the author. And then there's the table of contents, and we're looking very much at the countries involved: Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, so on. And then running through the tables of contents all the way through to the final part. There are 7 chapters. The last chapter is a conclusion chapter, and then there is an appendix A, a model Iranian buyback contract, and then a fairly detailed bibliography. Mainly it's involving Arabic resources mainly. Then you've got a foreword from various people, very useful. Terence Daintith and Margaret River, dated in February 2016. You've got some acknowledgements from Nima as the author, again February. These abbreviations are very useful. You'll see how they are structured. The book is in English, and so it is, but you do need to have some idea of the abbreviations. You see how many there are of them, because again, they are using a lot of abbreviations, and I'm not familiar, and I'm sure many people are not familiar with some of them. Some of them are more logical than others. These are the cases and arbitral awards which are listed where you can find them, and they are listed in a particular structure with the cited as full citation and the page references. So it's done in a slightly different way from what we used to. Likewise with the other bits concerning the cases. Then you've got international instruments. Again, it's very much of an international book, this one. Then you've got, after that, municipal instruments. That's looking specifically at the countries. That's Iran, Iraq, and of course Saudi and the US. Then we get into the book itself. Chapter 1, the introduction. You've got a lot of footnoting. And you've got the paragraph numbering, which you can see there, and then that's how the book sort of runs through, just opening it in a minute. Lex Petrolea, there we go, that is chapter 3, which sets out what he's talking about, and the background, which again I think is extremely helpful. All in all, it's a very, very important book. Let me just show you, there's a lot of detail. The bibliography is split up into different countries as well, but the bibliography is very, very detailed, as you can probably see. It runs to quite a large number of pages. I can't give you the full number, but you can see it's actually a large number of pages at the back. Anyway, there's the book. Now, what do we think of it? because I was intrigued, I must say, by the title, and I was very interested to see where we are at the moment with international investment law as it affects the Persian Gulf region and, of course, the countries in that area. The title, then, of this new book from Informa Law, including the subtitle, is for the most part self-explanatory, especially if you have a smattering of Latin, of which the author is evidently very fond. Commendably, the book started life as a doctoral thesis, researched by Nima Mersadi Tabari under the supervision of Professor Terence Daintith at the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies at the University of London, here in London. Now, it's now been revised and expanded, and it explores an area of research that is quite original in our view, and in today's global marketplace, much needed. The focus is, of course, on the complex and important linkages between Lex Petrolea, that's oil law, if you like, and international investment, which, of course, the two are inextricably linked, bearing in mind the region we're talking about. There are a number of reasons why all or most lawyers should read this book, and not just lawyers specialising in the oil industry or in investment law. International lawyers in general will be reminded, in the words of the author, that modern man's prosperity, progress and mobility are heavily indebted to utilising hydrocarbon resources for energy. Well, that's the way it's been, and that's the way it's going to continue, not indefinitely by any means, until such time as we break out into space and look for further resources elsewhere, once we've presumably used up what we have here. And that day is probably dawning earlier than we think, probably. The point is also made that recent oil price rises have not undermined demand, and that therefore speculators will continue to see petroleum as an avenue to hedge investment risks. It's always been like that, and I'm just wondering how long it will go on for. It looks to me like certainly this century. Moreover, oil and gas are together seen as a strategic commodity, playing a pivotal role in world security and thus a tool of political influence worldwide. And that's been the case certainly the whole of my lifetime, and actually a long time before that. What drives and inspires this book are the political, social and economic realities of the major oil producers, primarily Iran, Iraq and Saudi Arabia. There is a separate chapter on each, featuring insights on historical and political influences, followed by details of investment law in each region. For example, the legal regime in Saudi Arabia governing oil and gas is scrutinised in these sections on king and constitution, council of ministers, consultative council, judiciary and, of course, investment law within the Saudi foreign investment framework. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because there's been a lot of comment very recently about Saudi Arabia, but this book is about dealing with the realities of what we have to face at the moment, irrespective of one's own, perhaps, views about what they do. The fact of the matter is we've got to know what the regime, what the structure is, so that we know how we can talk to people. It's far better to do that than any other way of carrying on activities. But what then is Lex Petrolea exactly? Rest assured that it is discussed in detail in the book's third chapter, which you've just seen, and it emerges as a concept rather than a current and workable reality. I'm sure that's what the author had in mind, as the author undertakes all of this, in his view, the cumbersome task, he calls it, of identifying and defining it. Well, he's created it, hasn't he, really, to a certain extent. So it's a rod for his own back. However, it's a very, very good book, this one. It is nonetheless referred to as a transnational legal framework inspired by the medieval Lex Mercatoria, or law merchant adopted by European merchants, faced then as now by the inadequacy, as the author puts it, of local legal systems in dealing with transnational trade. And we all know that mercantile law, the law merchant, was a very, very important part of the development of the English common law. Anybody who studied certainly law at A-level or degree level will know the influence of that particular area. So let me conclude by saying conceivably Lex Petrolea can be applied in the 21st century as a means of dispute resolution along the applicable laws relevant to hydrocarbon disputes. And I think that's right. And also, of course, London is very much, with Singapore and others, very much an area where these disputes might be handled. Legal researchers, as well as arbitrators and mediators wishing to follow the development of this old but new approach to dispute resolution in what's a complex area of law, will welcome the wealth of references here in what is an extensive set of footnoting throughout, and the lengthy 28-page bibliography at the back, which I've indicated, is split up, but it's certainly very logically arranged. Also, please note the lists of cases and arbitral awards and the international and municipal instruments that are listed right at the front. This is the first edition, and it was published, certainly it's been published relatively recently in 2016, although the publication date is 2017. So I've got an advanced copy again. It says here publication date 2017. So I have an advanced copy, which is why we're doing the review. There's the book at the front cover again. And as I say, the introduction is very important to certainly read. And then we get into the international investment law, the chunk of the book right in the middle. And you can see again the structuring, paragraph numbering, footnotes, and subheads. So you should be able to find information very, very quickly. Again, chapter 4 looks at Iran. And obviously I'm recording this at a time of a huge international tension within the region itself, which is continuing. But I think this book is a tremendous help, as all these books in the series are. This is where the law can be found. This is a massive help to anybody who's adjudicating, anybody involved in the legal processes at whatever level. And it's a great contribution because it gives us some assistance in knowing the way forward with matters. So thank you to everybody concerned for another excellent publication. Bye-bye.